Get stitches once again. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this dress. If you want to know how I made it, please do well to watch the video to the end. Subscribe to my channel, please. If you are returning subscriber, thank you, I appreciate you. Let's get into the video. So I'm just going to be using the fabrics I'll use in this picture. Okay, I'll be using the back fabric and then the other print, the check print. I'll be using both fabrics just to make it sit well and look like this. Okay, so what I'll be doing first of all is to mark out my half length. The half length I'm working with is 15 inches, so I'll be coming down by half an inch. So I'm starting from 14.5 inches, and then I'll be marking out the length of the gown, which is 41, and I will add 1.5 inch to the main length. Okay, after that I'll mark out half an inch for my zipper allowance. Okay, you can do well to add one, but in my case I'm adding half an inch, so I'll be marking out this waistline and adding 1 inch to it. Please remember to add extra 1 inch for your dart. Okay, so on the hip line I marked out quarter of that hip line to just like I did for the waistline, and added 1 inch for seam allowance. So you measure what you have on your hip line and then remove one, minus one. Okay, that's what you put on the hemline, and then you connect all that together. Remember that your fabric must be on fold while you are cutting this, and then you cut it out. Okay, so the next thing I'll be doing is to place my fabric on another fabric to cut out my front part, removing the zipper allowance from there. So I'll then cut it out. I'm just going to mark the dart. Okay, the dart leg. I'm taking 4 inch in my case, so I'll be marking that and then I'll notch it. Okay, so the next thing again that I'll be doing is to cut out the front part, the upper part of the gown. Yes, so I've just gone ahead to notch that part. Okay, so we're marking out the half length of the upper bodice. The half length we are working with is 15 inches. I'm adding 1 inch, half inch for joining at the upper part, and then half for the lower part. So I took in my half an inch for zipper allowance right there. So I'll be marking out my shoulder. Shoulder we are working with is 15 inches over 2. That gives us 7.5. Then I add half an inch to it for joining my sleeve to it. I came down by 1 inch for shoulder slant and then came in by 3 inches. Okay, then I'll connect that line together. Next thing is my armhole. I'll come down by 8.5 inches. That's my armhole. So I'll be marking out my bust area divided by 4, as you can see. So plus 1 inch for seam allowance. Then I'll be marking out my waistline too, as you can see, plus 1 inch for seam allowance, and then 1 inch for that intake. So I'll be connecting these points together just like I'm doing, just like you're seeing me do right there. So I've connected that. So I will also come down by half an inch from the neckline because it's going to be an asymmetric neckline. I'll just cut that for now. Okay, so I'll be using the same measurement to cut out my front, but taking out half an inch for the zip allowance. So right there I've gone high to stitch loosely my back. Okay, to make it easy for me to cut out the asymmetric together with the front. So I'll be cutting out the asymmetric neckline for the front first, then I'll be doing that for the back later. So right there I'll just go ahead and mark to the right hand side 1.2, and then to the left hand side 2 inches. Okay, just watch what I'm doing. Okay, just to give me that that which I want. So I'll just gone down by 6 inches on that right hand side after marking 2 inches. Sorry, that was a mistake. 2 inches to the right hand side. Please just watch what I'm doing. So I marked out 6 inches downwards, 5 inches downwards rather, and then I connect it just like this. Please watch carefully. You can see that on the thumbnail we have it just like that. It's not going to be the same measurement for the left and the right. Okay, so for that part it now becomes our yoke. We'll take it out. That means that when we are cutting out our our facing. We're not going to be cutting that yoke part, that part that I'm showing us that has the black. Won't be cutting it out with the yoke. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is to cut it out. All right, so when we are cutting, I will raise up that part by half an inch, meaning that when I want to cut my yoke, I'll add 1 inch to it. Okay, so that it will give us exactly what we want, and then will not be short of fabric. All right, so I'll be cutting that out and using it to cut out my back. So instead of just I'll just lay it out and mark to the right and left what I have in the front, then I'll just cut out below. That's half inch. I'll be using 1 inch for the back. We have marked out half inch before, so I'll be cutting it out just like that. Hope you are getting me. Okay, so I've removed that part right there, you can see. Okay, so I'll just be replacing that with the black fabric, remembering to add 1 inch to the lower part, just like I'm doing there, just like I've done there rather. So I'll be marking out my cape, so watch me closely. Trace out the neckline, the remaining neckline, and the shoulder. Please trace it out and then give it that shape that you want. You can decide to change your shape if you want to, but in my case I'll just be following the thumbnail. Look at what I'm doing. So I'll just be marking that out like that. You can decide to change it if you don't like what you have, until you have until you like what you have. Okay, so make sure that you had allowance to join it on this side and then the lower part. Remember that you need to turn it. Okay, it's a cape. All right, so I've gone ahead to adjust my cape again, and then making sure that I've added half an inch to it. So I'll be showing us what it looks like. Okay, you can see for each of the cape and the yoke, you'll be cutting 2 pieces of that each. Okay, so you make sure that you turn it out before you come and place it back. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing, you can see I'm showing you what it will look like. So the next thing we're going to be doing right there is to cut out the facing. Okay, I'll make sure that all the facing I'm having there, for the back I came down by 3 inches, the length of the facing 3 inches after my armhole. So I'll do that again for the front. Okay, when you do so, I'm just slanting the back because our back is not straight. I'm slanting it by 1 inch towards the side. Okay, so make sure that you have cut out the facing for the front too, and then you are good to go. I've cut out pieces that I need for all of this. So the next thing is this the sleeve. Okay, I'm just going to cut out the sleeve for the black, sorry, the other part first before the back. You can see, so that's my sleeve length 15. You can see the total length I'm having there 16.5 because of the joining. So I'll mark out my armhole, that's 8.5, like you're seeing me. Come down by 3 inches and then just draw number 2, just like you're seeing me right there. Okay, then you take out the round sleeve you're working with for the elbow and add 1 inch allowance to it, just like I'm doing. Then you cut it out. So I cut out that for the black piece too, because it's not going to be the same fabric that will be on the both sides. So the next thing I'll be doing is to cut out the peplon. Okay, after fixing the dart for the skirt part, please make sure you fix the dart. I'll just cut out a piece of material. Yes, I'll cut out a piece of material to illustrate that black peplum design. Okay, so make sure you notch the midpoint of that fabric you have cut out to make it easier for you to draw that out. So I'll be tracing out the design right now. I'll come out by 1 inch on the side to make sure that I have the joining allowance separate. Then I'll mark out and trace out the peplum design just like that, and I'll make sure that is 1 inch after the center point. Please watch what I'm doing. Please watch what I'm doing. And meanwhile, when you are trying to recreate that on the main fabric, which is the black fabric, you have to add half an inch at the lower part to make it look exactly, to have what you want exactly. Okay, so this is just a prototype of what we'll be doing. You can see what I'm doing right there. So it's from that midpoint that I'm going to draw the second line. So that's me just trying to trace out the peplum that will be attaching to that particular part. Okay, yes, so I'm just trying to show us again what it looks like. I'm just following the pattern that we have there. Okay, so make sure that you take out that 1 inch for seam allowance on that side so that it will not look somehow when you are done sewing. So I'll be cutting out 2 pieces of each of the sides right there, adding half an inch for the sewing allowance and turning the peplum area, not for the hip part please, but for that place I'm shaping right there. I'll be adding half an inch at the lower part, okay, to turn it out, that's what I'm trying to tell us. Okay, so after turning it out, then I'll just go ahead and, because that's it. Okay, I'm just trying to show us what it looks like. You can see that it's not overlapping, but it's not the same. See, I've just added half an inch around that. I've added half an inch around that. Okay, please make sure that you know where it is, to the right or to the left, so that you don't make mistake. Okay, and it doesn't look somehow. Now I'll go ahead and turn it and bring it back to show us what it looks like on the main fabric. So I've gone ahead to join it. Look at that, place is opened. It's just this part that I turned, the shaped part, the shaped peplum part. So I'll stitch it down to the dress and then I'll join the upper bodies to this dress. Okay, after the upper bodies, I've already used my lining to turn it first. Sorry, I've attached the cape rather. Okay, I'm here to attach the other yoke. You can see I've attached the cape, I've turned the cape. I'll just use that facing to turn it out with the, I will use the facing to turn the yoke out. See what I'm doing right there. Okay, I'll bring the facing right there. All right, please watch closely, watch what I'm doing. So after I fix, remember that I came down by 3 inches, so make sure that you do your, you fix your dart so that I can sit well. So right there I've gone ahead to fix my sleeve, fix the back part and everything. I've added my zip. If you want to see how I did this, please watch my other videos. I really love you. That's the outcome of the dress. I love you. Please come back to watch our videos, subscribe to our channel if you have not. Bye bye, God bless you.